Um, Welcome to GBCS. Thank you for choosing us as a school, and we really look forward to working with you and your family. My name is Vanessa Jones, and I am the Executive Director here at GBCS. I'm a founding teacher, so I'm going into my 25th year at GBCS. I'm currently the Executive Director, and really lucky to work with Rosalind Friday, who is our Assistant Education Director. So she's somebody else who you will be in contact with. She really helps us oversee school culture and climate, and working with students with conflict resolution, and preventing discipline and managing when issues do come up as well. Yeah. Anything else I left out that you want to mention?
You'll see me during arrival. You'll see all of us on arrival, but you'll see me down the entrance of the school, helping students and families get in.
So before we get started, I also wanted to give one of our guests today, Ms. Susan Jackson, who is our board chair, and her daughter, Naren, who's going into 8th grade. But Susan, do you want to say a few words?
I just wanted to welcome everybody. Our board of trustees, helps make sure that everything is on track with the school. And this school is different from many others in that it's a majority parent board. So that in getting more information, we have, flyers about it, or, you can ask me or Miss Vanessa if you're interested in getting involved in that way. But we meet pretty much monthly. We go over the academics and just everything that's going on in the school, the budget. So depending on what your interest is, what your experience is, but we're always looking for new board members. And I'm like I said, she's graduating this year, so I'm on my way out. So I got to find people to replace me. So always looking for new people.
But we're not ready for her to go yet, so. Yeah, well, thank you. Thanks for being here. And Susan is a great resource. She has a lot of experience at our school, but also in our community. So don't hesitate to reach out to either one of us about joining the board, but also other committees around the school. Okay. So the goals for this meeting are to talk about the mission and vision of our school, the 3 pillars upon which our school was built, enrichment clusters, our dual language program, personalized education plans and conferences, family and community involvement, curriculum and assessment, and then just some general information. Before I begin, I want to switch for a second. And start with a video. This video is about 5 years old. One second. And I came to GBCS because I was looking for a public school that would afford students the opportunity to learn in a hands-on, developmentally based, Montessori-inspired context. So in 2011, we started a dual language program. We had many students who had the same home language, Spanish. And when we looked into bilingual programs to adopt, we fell in love with dual language. We felt that by being bilingual was an asset for our students. We did not want to transition them into English. We wanted to have them become bilingual and biliterate.
Dual language consists of teaching 2 languages, and not just all day, but once a week. We do English and another week we do Spanish. And what makes it great is that about 50% of the population is already Spanish speaking. From that, we have grown and evolved. We've had personal education plans, which were inspired by individual education plans for special needs students.
My youngest daughter is visually impaired, and her eyes look different from most kids. They move a lot, she has some sadness, And so I talked with both the kindergarten teachers and the school counselor about really the best way to approach how my daughter interacted with the other kids and how they interacted with her. And what they decided was that they have somebody from the Commission for the Blind and Visually Impaired come and talk to all the students so that everybody was on the same page, so that she wasn't some sort of strange mutant being, and she sees her visual impairment as something that makes her unique.
We brainstorm together what they want to work on. They come up with a plan, which we call their personal education plan, their PEP goals. And those are things that they work on in the classroom, and they're assessed along with the state curriculum and reported on in their progress summaries.
Goals are something that you choose to do, and it like helps you learn about a certain subject. And my pet goal was volcanoes and how it's from. My pet goal was Harry Houdini, and I set it on the board to tell about what he did and some pictures that shows how a straight jacket looks like. In this school, there's a lot of different students from all different places, and they get to experience different like things like special. But they get to go to art and they get to go to music.
Our school also has a strong foundation in positive discipline. We believe that children should be problem solvers. And when there's a conflict, they work through it together using conflict resolution, using peer mediation. But the truth of the matter is that a lot of parents and students choose our schools because of the respectful, safe environment.
The parents, they're so comfortable coming in. Like I have parents in my classroom all the time, helping me with projects, helping me put things up, or even just working with the students. It's normal that our parents are here, that we have an inviting community, and that everyone feels like a family.
Bringing in different organizations as part of our family learning nights, as part of our regular programs. We're currently partnering with the George Street Playhouse, doing one of their Theater at the Core programs, connecting social studies instruction, literacy instruction with theater.
As a family learning night program, we have cooking class for kids. Boys and girls can cook, can make dishes, any kind of dishes, can make desserts, etc.
I look forward to continuing this process, empowering teachers and students with what they need to continue the momentum that we have.
So you kind of look at the agenda for right now. You're probably noticing that there's a lot was covered in that video that's also on the agenda. Before I go into the slides, what did you notice? Like, what did you notice in the video? What makes you curious? What did you like? What makes you curious? What do you want to know more about?
I'm curious about the dual language.
Okay,
Even though we are Spanish speaking, my son doesn't speak Spanish.
sure. Okay. I'll make sure to cover that.
Yeah, my girls don't know also,
Okay.
even though we are Spanish speaking.
Yeah. We get a lot of that.
Yeah, mine is the same. I'm not Spanish speaking, but I'm very interested in learning Spanish.
Okay, yeah. So the dual language program is definitely something that is really exciting and wonderful that we do here at GBCS. We do have, it's a 50-50 two-way immersion program. So the students are spending a week in one language and then the next week in the other language. So let's say the first week of school, they're starting in English world, then the next week they'll be in Spanish world. So we have a lot of students who don't speak any Spanish and their parents don't even speak Spanish. And we expect that. We expect that. What we ask for is a partnership. We ask you to be open. And if you don't speak Spanish, don't let that intimidate you. And don't let your child pick that up, right? Because if you have a growth mindset and you're like, okay, I don't know Spanish yet, versus I don't get this. I don't know it yet. We're going to learn. As you learn it, I'm going to learn a little bit from you. Your child will have a language buddy in the classroom. And so the language buddy will be somebody who is more comfortable in a language that your child is not, to be a support. Now, teachers in the dual language classrooms, they don't break the target language. So if I'm a Spanish world teacher, I'm only speaking in Spanish. But the language buddy they'll break the language. They'll speak in the other language to help every now and then. If there is a crisis and a child's melting down, then they'll slip into the hallway and take the child, like to talk to them. They'll break the language, but that doesn't happen. It's very, very rare that happens. But yeah, but they're gonna have, your child will have a language buddy. We're really mindful of having resources that have a lot of visuals to support the language development. We also offer for parents to have language buddies. In that way, you could have somebody as well, right? So like you were saying that you are Spanish speaking, although your child is not. So it might be the kind of thing where maybe we're going to sync up, and be a resource, have your own like little homework hotline. Hey, could you help me with this? Teachers are also available and resources as well. And it's definitely a process. And language acquisition, it takes about 6 years. So we typically we'll see, like when our students are in 5th grade, so that's when we'll see like a big jump in their Spanish reading levels. So it definitely takes time. You will more often than not see your child performing better in English than in Spanish. And that has a lot to do with their exposure to English. So we have many students who, even though their families only speak Spanish at home, media, print, environmental signs, TV, and then just school. And if they're at the playground, it's more likely than not that their friends are going to be speaking English. So we have to really encourage the Spanish and really build them up. Susan and Marin, I know you guys have been involved in the dual language program. Do you want to add anything that I missed?
I would just say, like, one of the things is like knowing that most of the stuff that they see outside is English. Like the whole like reading, it doesn't matter what language they're reading in as long as they're reading. Like the important thing is reading. So it's getting better now in terms of being able to find. Before, years ago it was harder to find books in Spanish, but now you can find them. And so to like read with them, or if it's TV, like, if you're watching the news, you can watch it in Spanish as well, so that they're seeing that, or just point stuff out. Like if you're at a restaurant, and it's like the menus, both languages, and you'll see that the kids like start to pick up on it. It seems intimidating, but they adjust. I mean, and it's surprising. Like a lot of times what I've noticed is they don't necessarily, the talking part takes a little bit longer, but they understand. Like it's amazing. Like, I remember being at like kindergarten, like it was amazing. Like these kids understood everything. You could tell that they knew what was going on. So I think sometimes it's us, kind of like, it's a little different, but the kids majority like get it and enjoy it, like, and when they know, there's another parent was telling me that there's kid came for orientation, I guess kindergarten orientation, and they're like the list of words that he knows in Spanish, like, like just from the summer, like excited, that he knows like some like really random vocabulary words, but that he's starting the process. Yeah. I don't know, for you, Marty? She's not like much public speaking.
No.
She's been here forever. But I mean, and I think one of the things too is like she knows it, like she's been here, from the beginning. Like she started in dual in 1st grade. But you do see like there's some social stuff, there's some hesitancy, like she knows it, but like, isn't like necessarily wanting to use it all the time. And like, in a certain setting, or to help somebody out. But like, it's still a process. And I think it's like a lot of personality too.
Yeah.
Like for each kid.
I remember once there was a student whose family did not speak Spanish, and he was reluctant to speak Spanish. But one day, a friend of his had broken a rule outside at recess time, and he happened to be there when his mom came to pick the friend up. And he wanted to tell on his friend. So he went to the mom and was like, this is what he did outside. And she didn't understand him because she doesn't speak English. Well, he put his Spanish to work. He was able to put that sentence together so he could let that mom know what had happened. So it's like, it's definitely, practical life, when we've had other students who say, it's helpful at the grocery store. It's helpful at restaurants. It's helpful if my friend's parents don't speak English, I can speak to my friend's parents. And that's really meaningful. And then we have other students who are like, oh, wow, this is gonna help me in college. And now New Jersey does offer a seal of biliteracy. And that is something that all of our students are more than capable of achieving through our dual language program here at GBCS. So yeah, just go into it with an open mind and just communicate. If you have any concerns, let the teachers know. We do have Spanish support in our after-school program. And if your child is not in the after-school program, but you would like them just to come here and there to get some Spanish support, we offer that. English support is not as commonly needed, but certainly we offer English support as well.
I would say just speak up, talk to the teachers, and let them know, don't address it, so that you can find a solution. Because instead of sometimes you're just hesitant, and then you feel bad, just address it.
And would any of you be, just out of curiosity, who would be interested in having a parent language buddy? Okay. Who would be interested in being a parent language buddy? Would be willing to be a parent language buddy. All right, so we'll follow up. We'll follow up with that. So thank you. And make sure when your child starts, let the classroom teacher know. Let the classroom teacher know, and then Miss Lilia, our family coordinator, she can be that bridge to make that happen as well. Okay. Yeah, you're welcome.
It happens organically,
Yes.
because as the kids develop friendships, you know what I mean? You get to know those parents and stuff, and so it's a very close knit environment.
I'm excited. Me too, very excited.
Good. Okay, anything else that you were curious about? Questions? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and,
Yeah, I do. Actually, the after school program, I did
Yeah.
get a application, I guess it is,
yes.
for enrolling, but to be honest, she's a kindergarten, going into kindergarten.
Sure,
I
sure.
want her, just to be here enough.
Mhm.
'Cause
That
I
makes a
don't-
lot of
I
sense.
don't want to overwhelm her with school stuff.
Right.
Even though, they have fun and everything, but she's very, she uses her imagination a lot. So she plays a lot, and, so I just don't, would you recommend it? It said, what do they do? Would you be able, just to bring them a couple of days and not the whole week? How does that work?
Sure, yeah. So I think that the after school program is great, and I will go over some of those pieces of it, but I also wouldn't rush you, especially for kindergartners. There's no rush to get them in the after school program. I think being mindful of their oftentimes if they're napping now, and they're not going to be, they'll have time to lay down and rest, but they're not going to be napping, in class. It's going to be a long day for them. So if you have, structures in place that would allow your child to not come, then go with that. And then maybe reassess mid-year and see how things are going. So the after school program is, it runs from 3 to 5:30, and it has sports, cultural activities, but also it has intervention and enrichment. So we give priority to our students who need extra support academically. And we have 2 of our teachers are the after school academy coordinators. So Lirazelle Bello Johnson, who is a K1 teacher, and Caitlin Mitchell, who's a 4th and 5th grade teacher. So there are coordinators, and we really kind of look at how the students are doing, where might they need a little extra support and push. And we have teachers who do essentially tutoring during that time. But we also have, we'll have, for middle school this year, we'll be offering soccer. In the winter, it's going to be volleyball, and it'll change to have different options for physical sports. as well, but there's also free playtime. Because we also do recognize the real value of that unstructured play. And there's time for them to also do homework. But all of this stuff is based off that 3 to 5:30 window. And so if when your child is enrolled in after school, be mindful of what time you're picking your child up and what their schedule is like here. So if you want that, we try to do the tutoring stuff earlier on, but something's going to happen later, right? There's something from that 3 to 4, there's something from that 4 to 5:30 window. So if you're enrolling them, just be mindful of what you want to make sure that they don't miss.
I just want to say too, like when you're doing the application for the aftercare, it also tells you like what you want your child to be focused on. For me, like I want him to like have a tutor or whatever, so you can take whatever you need to focus on that. So she's like a play person, they will also focus on that with her. So you can bring her like every day to just know what to do with her.
Yeah. And it also allowed you to check which days you want.
Yeah.
So yeah, it did. You didn't go into it. It
It
asked you, because my son is also starting in kindergarten, so I didn't pick anything structured from the,
Okay.
I just picked, I don't remember the options,
Yeah.
but nothing that had to do with tutoring and homework, because I don't want him to be overwhelmed
Yeah.
with him just going to a big school now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, thank you.
So, and they'll do their best to accommodate. There might be times where, because of the schedule the group is, they might be with the kids doing homework. But if we know that that's not a priority for you and you'd rather, then, I know you put in a survey, but if for some reason that gets overlooked by mistake, you can say, hey, you know what, during that time, I'd be very happy if my child could be doing coloring, drawing, free play kind of stuff, while they're with a group who's doing it. They might be able to coordinate it otherwise, but just in case, just want to plant that seed for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that after school open to all parents, or is there like a cap of how many kids can be in that program?
So yeah, so we have, this year we've structured it for up to 200 students. We have 396 students in our school. So we have, so we have it structured for up to 200 students this year. And then if we have more, and right now we're within the window. I actually have a meeting with the coordinators on Monday, so I'll know more. I'll know more on Monday. But we still have some spaces, but probably like about 10, 15 spaces left. But then our intention is if there is more of an interest would be then to do more hiring. Last year that proved to be very difficult. I'm sure you're all aware that we're living through the great resignation. There's a huge teacher shortage. So staffing has been challenging, but we're in a better place now than we were last year with the after school academy. Yeah, but you can also put that in when you're doing the form, fill it out and say, hey, I'm interested in this. For my family, it's a need. I need this to work, or this is a want for me. Like if, I understand, like, if we could do a couple days, that would be great. And the coordinators will definitely take everything you say into account. Yeah.
It really depends, like, on each child, because it's funny, like, when you come to pick up in the afternoon, there's some kids, when they get called down, they're mad. They're like, why'd you pick me up now? Like, I was doing
A lot of
this,
kids are like that, yeah.
Like, or, don't pick me up until the end, because I want to do X, Y, and Z, because they, they enjoy, being together and interacting. So it really depends on the child.
Yeah. Yeah. And then every now and then you'll have a child who's like, I don't want to go to after school, but that is like rare. Like more often than not, they're liking it. You should have received an alert, like a message about the after school academy. If you did not receive that, you can just reach out. You can call the main office, or you can, Miss Lilia is the, no, I'm sorry. If you call the main office, or after we're done here, I can give you an email address too.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if you call the main office, Miss Alejandra is our receptionist. Miss Alexa is also like a part-time receptionist as well. They'll typically be able to help you with whatever you need. But like I mentioned, the coordinators are Lyra Zell, Bello Johnson, and Caitlin Mitchell. And you can find all the email addresses on the school website. And there's information on the school website for more specifics too. So I want to share with you some common elements that you're going to see here at GBCS, things that you'll see throughout our school and our classrooms. Before we do that, we're a charter school. So we are a free public school created by parents and teachers. The charter school legislation was enacted in 1995. We opened in 1998. We are independent of school districts. So while we are in New Brunswick, we are not part of New Brunswick Public Schools. We have our own school board. And we are a one school district, it makes things a lot easier to happen, right? When we decided to become a dual language school in 2011, it was like we did some research, we had our school review committee, our think tank, talk about it, ran it to the board. That was approved in less than a year, right? And that's something that would probably take 2 or 3 years to get going in a bigger district. So it's nice, you have more of a voice and more of a say in things. It's also a lot more heavy lifting because you have fewer people doing the work of what in the bigger districts would be many more people. But so as a charter school, people will often say, oh, my child goes to the public school, and meaning not the charter school. So just to be clear, charter schools are public schools. Our school's mission is to provide students with an education to the highest standards that engages their individual interest and learning styles, nurtures their intellectual, social, emotional, and physical well-being, to disseminate our best practices to the broader education community. We're really wanting to meet the children where they're at. We want to develop the best practices, and when we do develop those things, we want to share what we've learned. Our vision is to be a community-oriented public school where students demonstrate independence and self-direction, confidence, strong academic and social skills, a passion for learning, and a responsibility to their education, school, families, and community. We want them to have strong senses of self and also a strong sense of our school community and our broader community. There are opportunities for volunteering in our school. There's opportunities sometimes doing community service outside of our school. We'll talk about the personal education plans, which also speaks to this vision. Our school has a race equity mission and vision as well. We strive to be an anti-racist organization. And so we do some work. We have uncomfortable conversations. We create spaces for people to be brave and vulnerable. And we want to have the space to have an open, inclusive, equitable community where members of varying racial identities challenge concerns and use their voices to encourage change. We want to develop a racially equitable school. We formed a race equity team 5 or 6 years ago, and we have a group of teachers and a couple parents who worked on this, and we're also working with training our teachers to have these conversations with our students, and also really empowering our students. I know with our middle school students, they've participated in the Middlesex County Day of Dialogue for the last 2 years, where they're then being empowered to think about social justice issues and act upon them. And I know in this year, we had groups of middle school students who organized Black History learning events, and then also expanded that and did another on Juneteenth, did learning exercises and activities around Juneteenth. But it's not just for Black History and Juneteenth, it's broader, but that is a priority and a value within this context.
And I would just add to it, those conversations are like, you know, among students, among teachers, you know what I mean? It's top to bottom, right? Because like everybody has, you know, comes from wherever they come from. And, you know, as we come together to make sure that we can, you know, learn and grow and get along. So those conversations happen throughout the building.
And part of this work that we do as a staff, and we ask you as parents to also do, is being mindful of your own biases. We all have them. We all have them. And, you know, we're wanting to be mindful of that. And then really encouraging your children to come into the space and be open and to have positive experiences with their peers. So I'm going to ask you just take a moment now and think about, imagine what your ideal school would be. So if we were to charge you right now to design your own school for your children, what would that school be? I want you to imagine that it's built on 3 pillars. And what would those 3 pillars be? If you want to just turn and talk to the people who you're sitting near and talk about what you think those 3 pillars would be. You guys, the 3 of you want to work together? If the 3 of you want to work together? Susan, do you want to?
Right today.
Yeah.
Security, I agree. That was a big reason
What do you mean by security?
No, she said security, and I said yes, security.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, with the way things are going now, security.
There's not not currently, there's not. One of the things we are looking into, we have, the board actually just approved the job description for a school safety officer. But it's not a police officer, it's somebody to just be mindful of school safety, like monitoring doors, you know, monitoring our cameras, and just being available,
Well, this school only goes to K, right?
No, it's-
Oh, it goes to, okay.
So 3 pillars, what else? So you want a safe place.
Oh, sure. I mean, it should be, engaged with each individual child. I mean, I know, because I think the classes are like 12, if I'm not sure. I know the kindergarten. I went to the big class. So I know that's a big class. Yeah, because she said the student to teacher to student ratio was 1 teacher to 11 children. So security would be one, and my next thing would be just engaging with them, just knowing they have a program that just basically caters to your child and their specific needs. I'm excited for this. I really am.
I'm gonna give you 30 more seconds.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I think we're all on the same page.
I live on right next to the state park.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, I'm over there. Are you in
Wherever you're at.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, okay.
You feel like
Well, I don't know what that is. I just know it's there.
Oh, I thought you were needing, I'm like, I
No,
know.
no. I'm actually from Jersey City.
Oh, okay. Welcome to it's a much smaller city.
I like where you guys are. I like it. I really like it. If you know about Jersey City, you know I know.
I know. My dad used to live there.
Really
one day.
shooting.
Near Journal Square.
Yes.
That was
And I know too.
yeah, he's like,
Oh, okay. My son is too. Kindergarten and 3rd grade.
so they're both coming here.
Yes. They're here. They're actually in the gym.
Oh, really?
Finish your thought and give me your eyes.
You look fine.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. So I'm going to ask you just to share one or two things that you and your partner talked about. What is it? What was some of the pillars that you talked about?
Okay, I said like engagement. Just, and what I mean by that is I like when I came in, I'm sorry, I forgot who I spoke to, but one thing she did mention is that the children will have an individual learning plan. And right there, I was just like, well, when do we start? Because I really love that because in the dual program as well, but just being engaged with each individual child, knowing their strengths, their weaknesses, and focusing on that would definitely be a filler.
Thank you. Thank you. Would you want to add on to that?
No, I think she said it so perfectly.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So engagement.
I think for me, my biggest concern is the security part. Since you guys are a smaller school setting, I feel more safe that my child is here. Like her safety or the kid's safety, everybody that you guys have here comes first. And I think that's one of my biggest concern.
Okay. Great. Yeah.
Security, safety.
Thank you. Right. Thank you.
So she covered much about what we were talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, but what I like though, because I came to the first meeting, was just that you also want the parents involved. So it's not something that like in public school, which I've seen, I don't have experience in, where they'll ask, but they won't like pressure it. And here it's like you guys have a way of saying you guys have to do, community hours, you can do it in person, or other ways to do community service within the school.
Yes.
So not just having your children involved, but as a parent, you should be involved as well.
Yeah, I like that.
And you become familiar
with
with
that security, where I'm big on security as well, and I feel safe here. Thank you.
Yeah, and those are things that are important, not only like physical safety, but like emotional, like it's safe, it's like a safe space.
Right.
And that's something that's been a value of ours since we've opened. And we are mindful, we do live during a very difficult time when it comes to safety. And we are mindful about our school practices and procedures as far as keeping our safety and security plan in place. Those are things that we take very seriously. Great. I'm gonna move on to these slides, and you're gonna see that you guys have some things in common with the 3 pillars of GBCS. So our school is built on 3 pillars. One pillar we have is children director on education. So just what you were talking about, we have PEP goals, we call personal education plans. We have enrichment clusters and student choice and projects. So it's really important to us that we have student voice in what they're doing. So you'll have conferences twice a year. You'll get progress summaries 3 times a year. But during those conferences, this is a child student focused conference. You'll be there, but it's going to be focused on your child. Your child will be part of this process, if not leading the process. That's when your child's going to be picking goals of things they want to work on and do. The enrichment clusters happen on the Wednesdays where we have early dismissals. And so that is when students you can sign up for different enrichment clusters. We've had cooking clusters, we've had comic book making clusters, we've had running, we've had newspaper writing, some more academic, some more artistic, different opportunities like that. So if people with shared interests volunteer to participate. And even in the regular classroom, even when it's not working on PEP goals, we still are really intentional about giving choice. So let's say that we are going to learn about New Jersey, right? But so maybe, okay, do you want to be the group that's focusing on the geography of New Jersey or the cultures of New Jersey or the history of New Jersey? Like, and then allowing students to, even within a context, pick what part they want to work on. Another pillar we have is that the school forms a learning community. We do have multi-age partnerships. We have we call sister classrooms or joining classrooms. And we'll have students from the middle school working with younger grade students as well, whether it be reading buddies or science buddies or games. At the end of last school year, we had the middle school, some of the middle school students did a math fair, and they set up into our media center, created a math fair where younger grade students got to come through and similar to see in the picture here, looking at the poster and talking them through their work. So there are different opportunities like that that we like to make sure the community is coming together. And another one we talk about is school builds democracy and civility. Safe, right? So positive. So we really work to have a safe space. And we do something called use positive discipline. We will have some parent workshops on that. I encourage you to sign up for those. And it is a method which is kind and firm. Many of us grew up in a context where it was people were kind and pushovers or firm and mean. But positive discipline pushes against that, and they show you a path to be kind and firm. And it's really a beautiful model, and that's what we use here at GBCS. We teach students conflict resolution beginning kindergarten, the first month of school in kindergarten. Your child's going to learn about iMessages and problem solving. And peer mediation as well. You'll see children are, well, differentiation in action. You'll see things differentiated for them, scaffolded. You'll see load student teacher ratio. We typically have 22 students in the class, and there's often at least 2 adults in the room. We already talked about our dual language program. I already spoke to you about enrichment clusters. Something else to be mindful of is that we are a regional school. Our founding regions are New Brunswick, Highland Park, and Edison. So when students go through the lottery, if you live in those 3 towns, you get priority in the lottery. And then it's open to people from other towns as well. We already mentioned we have a parent involvement in our governance. So we do have a majority parent on our board. We can have up to 12 people on our board. We have 4 seats for community members, and we have 8 seats for parents. We, as you spoke to before, we encourage and expect a minimum of 10 volunteer hours each year at GBCS, whether that's going on the PTO, helping organize our walkathon, volunteering at events, helping with our food pantry. There's different opportunities. If you can't come in and you want to do something from home, hey, I can cut something out, or I can help make some phone calls, finding ways that you can help. For first-year parents, we really ask you to attend our Family Learning Night parent workshops, parent and guardian workshops, and those count. We count those as your volunteer hours too. And if you go to the positive discipline workshop tonight, we're counting this as that time. So keep that in mind, please, because we know that there's a lot to take in, and we want you to take advantage of that. The more involved you are this year, that's going to impact your child's time at GBCS. Project-based learning, students learning through projects is something that we value and do in our classrooms. That might be in the younger grades, life cycle of the butterfly, right? And the students are investigating, inquiring, looking with microscopes, getting caterpillars, watching them go through metamorphosis, and then releasing them into our school gardens. And in our middle school, it could be our youth participatory action research, where they pick a social justice cause that they want to learn about and address and come up with a plan to address. There's a whole range of different things. The personal education plans. These are very specific to each child. And once again, you'll set them up during conferences. You can see what it looks like is students discuss their strengths, interests, and learning styles. You're going to get an inventory sheet to do with your child ahead of time. And then you're going to help kind of list what those strengths, interests, and learning styles are. Then at the conference, you're going to discuss how your child's doing. teachers will refer to some work samples to show you, hey, this is what's going on. This is a journal entry. This is an assessment. And then you're going to discuss the current PEP goals that they already have some, and then update and document, noting PEP goals that are accomplished and ongoing. And you're going to, when you have the goal, you're going to talk about what the goal is and how you're going to reach that goal. So these are some activities or exercises I'll do, and this is how we'll assess it. We do a workshop on personal education plans in October, so you could get a more in-depth look at it then. And then we allow times for student and parent questions as well during the conference. And this is what the conferences look like. You can see parents, teachers, and students sitting around the table, talking about how they're doing, what's going well, and things, the goals they want to work on. And just to let you know, the PEP goals are not just about what you're struggling with, but it's also things that you're really interested in. And like you saw the Harry Houdini research project in the video, right? Like that he was interested in that. I was really curious. And or sometimes, you know, building a skill that you already have. Sure.
Is it a uniform based or just?
No, we do not have school uniforms. You know, as we have, right? You want school uniforms? Yeah. So what I'll encourage you to do that is make your own. We've had parents who do this. Like, just make your own school uniform. Like I'm gonna have khaki or pants, and you're gonna have polo shirts. Just make it for yourself. Make it for yourself if that's going to, if that's going to make your life easier. Yeah, yeah. So yes, get something that can, you know, go across the seasons and make your life easier. We're almost done. We're almost done. I'm gonna wrap it up. I got 2 minutes. I got 2 more minutes.
He was excited. He's like, what's that ice cream for home? And I'm like, not for school. Why?
Oh, did I lose the?
Yes.
I'm not sure what happened there. Oh, there we go. What were we just talking about? Oh, you know, yeah, so we do not, you know, we're progressive, our school's a progressive model. And so for individual expression, it doesn't fit, you know, with the broad school goals, but we respect that it makes lives easier as well. So please do what works for you. And we've had a really great history. Very rarely have we had issues with people like judging other kids' clothes or making issues of that. That hasn't been a theme for us. And I'm hoping that stays that way. So I would not anticipate any kind of pushback from your child, and as far as class, the kind of feedback or from peers, something like that. Looking for, once again, partnerships, different committees for parents to be on, helping with the gardens, volunteering, things we already talked about here. We do have some amazing school gardens. My mom is the main garden volunteer. So if you see Miss Rena outside, that's my mom. And she's helped really create and maintain them and she gets the kids in there doing that work. Family learning nights, Miss Lilia is the one who coordinates these. I mentioned these as well already. Please sign up and join as often as you can. Please come to our school events. We will have a cardboard challenge in October where you get to come. Those will be cardboard and scissors and tape, and you and your children create. And then we have a parade of the creations, a little tour of the creations. We also have a family sharing night. Some things we've had to modify due to the pandemic. But we have some pandemic versions as well, but the cardboard challenge, and hopefully we'll be able to bring our walkathon back this year too. Outside the community service, a lot of partnerships with Rutgers in different places. I want to point out that we strive to provide the least restrictive environment. And that means that we have an inclusion model. So if students are part of our special education program, our English language learning program, our success program, who might need some intervention, extra support, they're in the classroom where it's an inclusion model. And something else that we often don't think about is, but we discuss and learn about holidays and cultures, but we don't celebrate them. And this is different for most parents and guardians. So I'm going to say that one more time. So we discuss and we learn about holidays and cultures, but we don't celebrate them. So there's no parties for birthdays. There's no Halloween, no Christmas, no Hanukkah. We're not celebrating those things. Why do you? But we do have celebrations. We have our own celebrations, right? If we read the book Winn-Dixie, we're going to have a Winn-Dixie themed party where we're going to do things connected to that. We have fun Fridays. We have different themes. So we might have dress like a storybook character day. And that might be near the time that Halloween's on the calendar. We're not doing Halloween, but if you want to, so it gives kids the opportunity, you can dress up. This is when you can dress up. And this is when you can have parties. Why do you think that's considered least restrictive? Why would be having parties for every holiday and birthday be restrictive in some ways? Yeah.
Because certain families don't celebrate Christmas. You want to be culturally competent, welcoming.
Yes. You want to put what down?
That's
Yeah.
very good.
With the children to what?
Everyone has different cultures and backgrounds. So
I really
it's
like
better
that.
for you to just mutual.
And it's good to learn about them, right? So
Yeah.
we're saying, let's learn about them. But to celebrate them, that means the children who don't then have to leave the classroom. Like, and some people who have very devout religions are not going to be able to be in school that day if we are celebrating Halloween, if we are, and different things like that. And even birthdays. So that's how it's the least restrictive. We're being open. And so we also have a school wellness policy, which I'll get to in a second. And we really model best practices. We try to do our best to have healthy foods. And so we're not going, so please don't bring in cupcakes. Please don't bring, because we're gonna have to say to you, oh, I'm so sorry. Please take those home and share them with your family and friends. And it's really hard to do that. It's, as you can imagine, somebody comes in all excited and you have to say, sorry, no. That's why we like to make it very clear during the orientation. That's it. But if you want to let's say donate a book to the classroom in honor of your child's birthday, go for it. Like if you want to donate a piece, oh, you know what, I noticed you guys need a new globe or whatever it is, feel free to do something that makes sense for you and your family. But just, it won't be parties like that.
This is really good. It's really because I don't celebrate Halloween, and the school that my son was going, they do, and I felt bad because I had to let my child sit in another room. And he's like, oh my God, crying. Why can I, interact with other kids? So seeing this, it's really good.
That's what that means. I've kept my children home.
Oh, wait, right.
And now it's like, oh, you don't have to worry about it. It's not going on in school.
And the other thing is, and we try to kind of meet things halfway. So for instance, for people who are like, but it's Halloween, but we do have, like I said, we have the dress like a storybook character day. And we also have, for K1, we have something called Pumpkin, where we do a bunch of activities, academic activities with pumpkins. So every child, they're measuring a pumpkin. Will it sink or will it float? Doing parts of a pumpkin. So it still feels special, but it's not
mandatory.
It's not only, but it's academic.
Right.
And it's not Halloween.
Right.
It's pumpkin. And so it kind of finds a way to kind of find a middle ground, we find.
Yeah.
Curriculum and instruction. There's a lot, we really put a lot of energy and time into having a strong curriculum and instruction program. That is supported through collaborative planning that our teachers get to do, including on the Wednesday afternoons when the students have early dismissals. Assessment, we assess in a variety of ways, as you can see on the slide. Journals, pre-observations, pre-assessments, post-assessments, written, oral. We do have the state testing that we participate in. We do our benchmark testing as well in grades 3 to 8. And our progress summary is standards-based as well. Our school calendar. We do start this year on September 6th. We have early dismissals the first week of school, and then the last 3 days of school at the end of the year. Our after-school program does run on those days for those who are enrolled. And you can see on the calendar, the conference weeks, you can see what those are, those week longs in yellow. We also have professional development days for teachers occasionally, where students do not come into school. I mentioned before, arrival. Please make sure your child is here at 8 o'clock. Coming in, the doors open at 8. We do have staff outside at 7:45 for people who might need to drop off a few minutes early. Do not bring your child before 7:45. We don't allow it because it's not safe and they will not be supervised.
You can't drop off at 7:45.
7:45, not before 7:45.
I was watching another picture. It says, do you have a specific door to drop them off?
So yes, so there's a little picture here on the bottom right-hand corner. So this back of door, they'll go, if you get here early, you're gonna go through that door in the back. Yeah, so the kindergarten and first grade is at this door on the left, the 4th and 5th grade door here, 2nd and 3rd comes through the main door, and middle school comes to the front patio.
Right now that we're gonna do the social thing, is there a way you can show us? Are you gonna go near that or no?
I can show you. So a lot of you are kindergarten. What other grades do you have?
First grade and kindergarten,
K1, third?
third and kindergarten.
Third and, okay, yeah, so I'll, as we're walking, it's very easy. You can see all the doors within a few steps of each other. So I'll point them out to you. Yeah,
Okay.
yes, absolutely. And it's on this map here and it's in your handbook.
Okay.
So it's in there. We do have school-wide breakfast. Dismissal is at 3 o'clock, 1:35 on Wednesdays. If your child is being picked up, we ask you to be punctual, and allowing our teachers to get back to their planning work.
So every Wednesday it ends at 1:35?
1:35, yes,
And after school is until 5:30?
yes,
Oh, okay.
yes. And if you only need Wednesdays, you can also say that in the survey and then in the form. We do also ask, we have a wellness policy and we ask if you are sending your child in with lunch, to please also follow the wellness policy, having healthy foods. We're not off, please don't bring sugary snacks or unhealthy foods. And this page here that's in your handbook outlines what we mean by that. Candy, cookies, cakes, soda, highly sweetened beverages, potato chips, and other junk food should not be brought to school. Okay, so
Oh, and after school, do they give snacks?
yes. And that is everything in a nutshell. So thank you so much for coming. And as I finish with our wellness policy, today is one of those exceptions when we're breaking our wellness policy, to have our ice cream social. We will, like, a couple times a year, maybe 2 or 3 times, we'll break the wellness policy. But for the most part, we really do stick to it. That's great. And I will, as we wrap up right now, you ask for me to show you the doors. I will do that as we head out. And if you have any other questions you want to ask me when we're outside socializing,